It is my honor and my privilege to administer the oath to City Attorney Barbara Parker, re-elected. I want you to come in a little bit. There we go. Okay. Upon recitation of the oath, you may respond by saying, "I do." Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of California, and the Charter of the City of Oakland, and will truly, and to the best of your abilities, perform the duties of office of City Attorney for the City of Oakland?
I do.
Congratulations.
Greetings and Happy New Year. My voice is a little off, but I hope you can hear me. Can you? Okay. 4 years ago, I took the oath of office for my first term as Oakland City Attorney. I was filled at that time with equal measure of humility and awe. I was humbled by the resounding endorsement of the voters of the City of Oakland, and I was awed by the critical importance of this office and the accompanying responsibility. It's a profound responsibility that is my constant companion. Today, I commence my second term as your city attorney, and I appreciate with even greater depth the import of this office and the magnitude of that responsibility. I first want to say thank you to the Oakland voters for your resounding support and your faith in me. It has inspired me to work even harder my next term to live up to the high expectations that the voters have set for me. I also want to say that the fact that I'm standing here today is a tribute to the city attorney team, to their hard work, their dedication, and integrity. And I'm sorry to say that not that many of them are here, they're upstairs working, but for those who have, I'm not that much of a hound, I want to thank them and express my gratitude and appreciation for their commitment to serving Oakland. Second, and I'd say this is my most important thank you, I have to thank my parents, my late parents, James Parker Sr. and Savannah Parker. Their extraordinary sacrifice, their love and their teachings, their hard work, and the goals and values they instilled in me and my three siblings have continued to guide me and continue to inspire and motivate me every day. I wish they could be here, but I know they are watching. I also want to thank my daughter, Savannah Parker. If you notice, she's named after my mother, and my grandson, Coda. Unfortunately, Coda is now at the ripe age of 5, the ripe old age of 5, and he had better things to do. He's at the big school attending kindergarten today. So he's moving forward with his life and will be taking over soon. But I did want to acknowledge my daughter, Savannah, and have her just stand for those of you who don't know her. As many of you know, Coda and Savannah are my heart and soul, and Savannah's character and generosity of spirit have been so fabulous in supporting me, her son, and our community and relatives. I also want to acknowledge my sister, Betty Parker, who many of you may not have met, who is here, if you would just stand briefly. She has been a constant supporter and has always encouraged me. And then I also have my niece, Dr. Anais Parker, who is here. I'd like her to stand. Anais is following in the footsteps of her father, my brother, Dr. James Parker, Jr. So we like to repeat all of our names over and over. He has a son who's James Parker III. I also, last but not least, want to thank my stellar, and they sometimes call him, I don't want to be off color, but our badass campaign consultant, Doug Linney, who is back east, for marshaling my campaign, and everyone who has worked on my campaigns over the years, for your efforts and for your trust. I am proud of the work that we have done in the last 5.5 years since the City Council, in its eminent wisdom, appointed me as city attorney. A few highlights. We filed lawsuits to hold big banks and financial institutions accountable. We proceeded with ethics reform that I co-sponsored with Councilmember Kalb last year. We shut down 2 Oakland hotels that were centers for human trafficking, and we have continued to force businesses, including massage parlors and hotels, to cease these types of activities. We also shut down and won a record $15 million judgment against a fraudulent immigration consultant that preyed upon Oakland's immigrant families. We sued the U.S. Attorney and the U.S. Attorney General to uphold Oakland's right to regulate and permit medical cannabis. Our lawsuit was instrumental in keeping the doors of the medical cannabis industry open for nearly 4 years until the federal government finally gave up and dismissed their lawsuits. We sued the Monsanto chemical giant company to compel it to clean up the longstanding contamination in our stormwaters and the San Francisco Bay. The city administrator, council president Gibson McElhaney, and I co-sponsored a policy to lease rather than sell city property to keep these precious assets in the public trust as crown jewels for us and for our posterity. And we have continued and ramped up our ongoing work to hold bad slumlord landlords accountable. During the next 4 years, I will continue to do my utmost to serve you with all of my heart and to protect and advance the rights of all Oaklanders with renewed energy, and commitment. I recognize that this year, people are starting this new term and the new year with mixed emotions. 2016 ended on a somber note. The warehouse fire catastrophe highlighted, both in the local, state, national, and international realm, Oakland's ongoing housing crisis, which has resulted in people attempting to survive in their cars, on our streets, in our parks, and some in substandard housing. We also lost many young people to gun violence, the majority of whom are Black and brown young men. Indeed, Oakland is a tale of 2 cities, one bustling, prosperous renaissance, and the other struggling to survive and remain here with our skyrocketing housing costs and jobs that don't provide wages and benefits necessary to live here. This diversity is central to Oakland's history and our character. It includes race, religion, disability, people who are artists, and we want a place where all of our people can thrive and afford to live here. It's this sort of stew that makes Oakland so unique and so great. I support reforming Oakland and California laws to apply rent control and eviction protections citywide. Every day that we delay decisive action in this arena, Oakland inches a bit closer to becoming just another suburb of San Francisco with hyper-expensive and gentrified population. I plan to work hard to make these reforms a reality. Finally, many of us are experiencing, as was noted earlier by the mayor, a great sense of trepidation in the aftermath of the presidential election. Frankly, it's a surreal moment for me, and I think for many of us. But Oaklanders overwhelmingly rejected the president-elect's message of divisiveness and his promises, just to mention a few, to turn back the clock on healthcare as a right, to revisit the horrors of the Japanese-American internment by establishing a Muslim registry, to abandon the U.S. Attorney General's mission to ensure justice by appointing a man who has openly and overtly opposed civil rights and voting rights for African Americans, by pulling federal funding from sanctuary cities like Oakland and threatening to hunt down our family members and neighbors. Ignoring the catastrophic danger and, frankly, the existential threat posed by climate change, and also appointing a U.S. Supreme Court justice who will overturn Roe v. Wade and many other milestones. This is a time for us to rededicate ourselves to fight for and champion the America that we all cherish. Oakland is poised to and must be a leader in this fight. We can show the world and our country what we already know, that our diversity is our strength, and it is that very diversity that has both created, sustained, and caused our country to flourish. It is America's best hope. Thank you. At moments like these, I remind myself that my parents, grandparents, and my ancestors, against what appeared to be insurmountable odds, actually abolished slavery. They ended legalized segregation in Jim Crow, and they secured voting rights, sacrificing their very lives for these goals of freedom and justice. Our choices and our challenges today, frankly, pale in comparison. So what we need to do is to rededicate ourselves today. We can reflect for a moment, we can rejuvenate, and we must join together to continue to fight to preserve our freedoms and secure justice. I am confident that we will rise to this challenge. Thank you.